Here we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of the Financial Life Podcast. Today, we're going to go into a nice discussion, an educational episode about business credit. Something that is known amongst the business world of entrepreneurship and small business. It's known, but not really understood, as my guest here will explain. It's very important to have that. And again, it's known in the world, but some people have some business credit established and it's not a lot. They don't understand how to leverage it and use it and only get checks for that. Other times people have none and they don't know where to go about it. So I'm going to break that down today, as well as how that ties in with your personal credit, but more importantly, how to go about using these two parts of the financial game strategically. You know what I mean? So, and before we get into that, some of you may know, some of you may not know. I do a little bit, a little bit of things for people, a little bit of things. What do I mean by that? Some financial literacy, a little bit of credit, some life coaching. If you would like help with some of those things, I'm just saying, you can go to speakwithmatt.info. Again, speakwithmatt.info. No triple W. They'll take you right directly to my calendar. Book call, talk it over, private one-on-one call, me and you. And on top of that too, as well, I'm also a published author of co-authored a book called Born to Risk. Okay, one of 40 authors in the book. This episode is sponsored by that. And if you'd like a copy, reach out to me and let me know. With that being said, I'd like to introduce my guest. I got his great last name, Christian Audee, or I'm going to call him Christian Audacious.
There you go. Yeah.
He's so audacious all day. So
Uh,
Christian and I met, what was it, like almost 2 Sundays ago? Yeah,
yeah,
through
about 2 weeks ago.
events. Yeah, we had an event, and I was like, "Yo, Christian is big on financial literacy, helping men in particular with financial lives, physical improvement, professional improvement." And he's the owner of Wealth Minds LLC. I'm glad to have him on today. We're gonna have a great conversation about about finances and business credit and all that stuff. So, Christian, man, thanks for being on. Awesome.
Matt, thank you so much, man. I'm really, really, really humbled and very, very thrilled to be on the podcast today. And yeah, like I said before, my name is Christian Audee. I am a men's health and performance coach. But today, yeah, we're going to be doing a topic that is kind of, it's gender neutral. It's all about finances. So
Yep.
this is something that men and women can both take advantage of, especially if you are a new entrepreneur and you're looking to build business credit for yourself. We're going to go over some topics I think are really going to benefit everybody on that.
Yep. So let's start here. So I'll ask you, man, what is the difference? I know this, but for the listeners, people understand the difference between personal credit and business credit, and why is it important to have that business credit built out?
Yeah. Okay. Great question. So when you start your business, when you start your personal credit journey at the ripe age of 18, when on your 18th birthday, you start basically from right there recording a history of credit based on your use of credit and whatever. I mean, basically, anytime you spend money, Equifax, uh, Experian, and TransUnion, they are all basically keeping a record of your journey. Every car you buy, every house you, even your rent, your job, like
Yeah,
everything,
it's real. And so,
everything is recorded.
yeah, sorry to interrupt, but the song "Every Breath You Take,
They're
Every
watching.
Move they're watching.
They're
And you
watching
don't
you.
even know. But and the thing is, they're always in the background.
Yeah.
That's what gets you.
That is what get you. So that's your personal credit journey, is that from at age 18, and you have no idea that they're actually recording this. This is all happening like
Yep.
behind the curtain,
Yep.
as you will, if we're talking
Yep.
about the Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
They are definitely watching you. So, and the thing is that that's going to happen for until your dying breath. They're going to be recording
Yep.
everything you do financially. Now, that's your personal credit journey. Now, the difference between that and a business credit journey is that people don't understand this, is that the federal government recognizes businesses as actual individual entities And with their own ability to build credit, to build equity, to own assets, to have liabilities, to file taxes, all of these things. It's like businesses are actual people. And how the federal government practically recognizes them. So when we are talking about personal and business credit, your personal credit starts at the age of 18 for you. Now, when you start a business, let's say you open up an LLC or whatever it is, it's like that business, like you, just turned 18
Mhm.
and is now building a credit profile. From the day you sign that and you get your EIN number, you from that day on, it is now that business is now building a credit profile. So business credit focuses on now the difference is that business credit will evaluate everything you do financially as an individual. The business now it focuses on the company's financial dealings, just like your personal, just all your financial dealings. So all your loans, contracts, any vendors you deal with, and all of that is separate from your personal credit history. So you are building a completely separate credit profile with
Mhm.
the business,
Yeah,
separate from yours. Yeah.
we separate. And a lot of people don't realize that. And again, they know about it, but like they don't know how. And let's back up a little bit too. You talk about when you first form that business. How do you do that, and what's the proper way? Because some people, because I've had experience with, selling small business funding, brokering it basically. Some people are a sole proprietor and they think that's the same as an LLC, as a C corp, S corp. Some people, I've had one guy, I think a couple people were like, "Oh, I have business credit." I'm like, "What do you have?" "I have an LLC," and I'm like, "That's not business credit. You legally formed the business to build business credit, but I was like, how am I employee here knowing more about this than you?" That was a weird moment in time for me. But anyways, yeah. So how does one go about forming the business in properly too, so that way when they go to build, a vendor or a lender, they say, "This is my business. This is what I have." That way they can,
Yeah.
do business that way.
No, it's also a great question. So, like you said, there are several different levels of incorporation that you can adopt when you open up a business. So, the first one that you mentioned, sole proprietorship, you with that one, there's really no paperwork at all. You can say that you're in business for yourself and you're in business. So that's what sole proprietorship means. And so I could open up a lemonade stand and call it Christian's Lemonade and I can, but the thing is that I accept full liability
Mm.
for everything that happens with that lemonade stand, and it
So
all comes back on me as a sole proprietor.
someone gets sick,
That's
gets
the
allergic reaction. Ooh, it wasn't gluten
I,
free. How dare you? It's your
I
fault.
got some. If I get some bad lemons
Ooh, yeah,
from one of my vendors that I bought from, and I end up poisoning someone, they're coming after me, not the business. They're
yep.
coming after me. So I'm on the hook for anything that happens with that business, with the sole proprietorship. And that's dangerous. I tell everybody, like, unless you're just mowing lawns or doing something super simple, you need to go to the next level. And the next level is an LLC, which is a limited liability company, or an LLP, which is if you're going into business with a partner, it's a limited liability partnership. And so under that level, the company is now a separate entity as yours. So you can file this under any state you want. I typically recommend places like Nevada or Delaware or Texas, someplace that's going to give you some protection in case there is any kind of audits or anything like that, because those states won't release any kind of information to anybody at all.
Mhm.
So the thing is, the good news about that is that when you start an LLC, now if something should happen with my lemonade stand, let's say it's Christian Lemonade LLC, right? Now the thing is, if something should happen, they're going to go after the company, the LLC, because that's the company that is doing the business. I'm simply the owner. I'm protected for the most part.
Yeah,
For the most part, right?
right.
So and so it's limited liability, meaning uh I still have like business insurance and things like that, but if something should happen, let's say my lemonade stand falls down and it falls on grandma and she breaks her hip. The business now has to pay for those damages, whether it's out of pocket or insurance out of those things. So you're protected from any personal liability of that. And then you can go up the chain. You can have S corps and C corps. Now, those have full liability protection, but you're also paying more for that protection up front when you open up an S corp or a C corp. So there are many different there are many different liability and differences between those. So when you establish that, and then once you do that, you're going to get what's called an EIN number, employer identification number. It's like the social security number of the business.
Yep.
It's registered with the federal government. All right. Your business is now locked in with that number, just like personally, we're locked in with our social security number. All right. So, and once you get your EIN number, it should only take about a week or two after you fill out your incorporation papers. The next thing you want to do is you want to go to your bank. You want to tell them now you have a business. Now, if your bank knows you and trusts you and you have really good rapport and good credit with your bank, they'll have no problem opening up a bank account for your business. So you bring your incorporation papers, you talk to one of their agents, and you sit down and you say, I'd like to open up a business bank account separate from your personal and you're going to separate your personal and your business finances. And then this will make the tracking for the credit much easier, because now you can ask them for loans, a credit card, you can ask them for lines of credit
Yep.
under your business. So like you said, you want to make sure you have a good credit starting off with your bank, and because that you're kind of like a co-signer for your business now, right? So they know you, you have a decent, if you have a decent score with them, they'll have no problem giving you a couple $1,000s to start for your business. So that's how you basically start. It's those three things. File the paperwork in the state of your choice, get your LLC or your S corp or C corp, get your EIN number a couple weeks later, and then open up that business bank account with your bank.
Yep. You're right on that. I was gonna say that's all correct, and the steps you want to take to build it up, and that's where you go. I think a lot of people just kind of, I don't know where but I feel like a lot of people just kind of they start the business, then get it registered in some form based on whatever they think they know. I'm maybe an S corp, and they're like, all right, I have a business checking account. It's like, yeah, there's more to it than that. And
Yeah.
also too, so we can go here to the personal credit side, because there, and this is just where the economy is right now. Even when you have business credit to a certain extent, the banks they'll still check your personal. And the analogy that I make, or metaphor, is, imagine you're a banker. You're sitting there working, and then some kid comes, and and this kid's like 14. Kid's like, I got a business. You're like, yeah, okay, and gives you all the docs, LOC, bank statement, and the kid's bringing like 14 grand a month. You're like, wow, okay. The kid's like, hey, I want a loan. I want 100 grand. You're gonna be like, first off, you may have everything established. I need to talk to your parents. So the banker's gonna talk to the parents and be like, you know about this? I'm gonna need a co-signer. So it's kind of like that in the beginning, and again, to an extent, with your business credit. It's new, you're building it, and you have everything set up, but your personal credit is the foundation. That's more telling. They're gonna go, wait, what have you done? And so
Right.
you do want to have both in check. And I've given an example before, Christian. You appreciate this. When you have both that are great, the world is your oyster. So it's a great real example of like control group A, control group B, right? So we have two businesses, one out in Washington State. Guy had great credit, 700, business doing 100,000 a month. Another lady out in Hawaii, business was only doing about 600,000. I mean, I'm sorry, 65K a month. She had great credit and great business credit. Great example. Ran through the same lender, right? This is why I said, like, it's the greatest, like, A/B testing. Ran through the same lender. The guy in Washington State, though he good credit and the business was doing more, he only got approved for 50,000. The lady in Hawaii, maybe not doing as much, but had the better credit and business credit, was approved for $250,000.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is wide, and
Yeah.
that's where, and again, this is something that takes time. It is a marathon, not a race. So what are your thoughts on all that? Because people want this done
Yeah.
yesterday, and it's like, it's not how it works.
Yeah, exactly. So businesses, you have to understand that you have to look at things like their ability to pay back loans, their history of paying back loans, what sort of liabilities they have on the books, and what kind of assets they have under the books as well. So the banks are going to be looking at all this. They're going to look at your balance sheets. They're going to look at your cash statements, your cash flow statements, and they're going to say like, okay, so given this, we can authorize this amount of money, and a, a, a business may be doing 100K a month, but that's revenue. You have no idea what their expenses are. You like
Right.
what's their profit? Like what's their profit margin? Like you could be making 100,000, but they're spending like 95K to get that 100,000. So they're really only profiting 5K. Whereas the woman, that might be all profit. She may be doing a service business where she's just providing service. She's making all that is just cash in the bank for her. That's all Then she may be 65K a month, and then that's on top of any other assets she might be going. So she may be asset heavy, really liability light. The other company is just spending money. Let's say their marketing budget is probably out of control. They're
Yeah.
spending all this money, and the thing is that their margins are just so paper thin that the bank is like, if something should happen, you're going to be underwater, and then they're going to be on the hook for the whatever loan that they got off because they're just not in control of their expenses.
Yep. The things that people don't realize that they look at, and it's really like I tell people when helping with their credits, like it's about looking good on paper
Yeah.
because you don't get too often. Now, if you're going for funding, it's a little different, but in funding, you don't want to ask too many questions because the more questions they ask, the more crap they uncover, and it just doesn't work out in your favor. You want to ask just
Yeah.
the basic stuff, and like you want to look at yourself and go, "Okay, cool, that makes sense." The only questions you want to ask is, "Hey, I just want to understand. I just want to understand something. Is this? Yes, great, done." That's what you want. You want them to go. We saw this here and this here, and that raises concerns. And now we need to see X, Y, and you're like, "I've been through that. It's the most annoying thing." And then they find
Mhm.
something they don't like, which is really stupid, but you're not their underwriter, you're not the bank,
Mhm.
and you get shut down. And that's what it is. So you want to look good on paper to the best of your ability.
Mhm.
Not saying that if you do that, you're guaranteed. It's just it helps.
Yeah.
Put that disclaimer there. It definitely helps. I'll leave it
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah. Credit's all about just looking good. It's
Yeah, really the
like
best you can. And
your business could be a complete dumpster fire, like at that point. But the thing is that as long as you're paying everything on time and you're paying everything is going great on paper, everything that's happening in the background you can totally hide. You just
yep,
kind of tuck it away, and
by
then
the
the bank doesn't
way,
need to see it,
right.
and and you know what? The bank is getting their money and they're happy. That's it. And
Yep.
then you'll be able to get whatever money you want.
Exactly. After that, it's like, all right, I'm done. Now I'm in the system now, paying back good, then clean it up. Too many people just come and they don't understand it. Again, it's lack of financial education, thinking one thing, seeing what stuff, and like not understanding why they're not getting approved. It's like, well, this is why. And if they're open to it, then they'll, work with you on it. But not everyone does. So as far as that goes.
Right.
Now, Christian, for you, and so for as long as you've been doing it, so what are like the biggest mistakes you see people make when in trying to get the business credit going, personal credit things going on? What do you see when they come to you and you're like,
Yeah.
well, you should have talked to me before you did this, but it is what it is. You're here now.
Oh my God. I see way too many entrepreneurs taking on more debt than they need. Um, I've actually I had a client that got himself in way over his head. He was in the entertainment industry. He wanted to get into events, and he was competing in a market that was a complete red ocean. There were so many competitors. It wasn't even. I was like, how are you even going to make money? And he was like, I'm just going to. He had a lot of contacts. I'll give him that. But he was down in Miami, and he wanted to really get into like event planning and throwing just like massively lavish parties. So he ended up borrowing like something like $150,000 for like equipment, vehicles and things. And I said, okay, well, let's look at the budget sheet. Like, let's go ahead and look at it. And it all looked great on paper. It all looked really good. Everything looked so good on paper. He had just, I mean, he wowed the underwriters. He was like, "Oh, yeah, that's a great idea, right?" Fast forward about a year and a half, he completely ran out of money, and
Oh,
he ended up blowing through his budget, uh, more than twofold with what he needed to really compete in that market. And so, unfortunately, he had to close shop he and work on paying back a lot of the money. But the thing is that um, one of the things I love to tell to you, and mind you, this is something that should everyone should be thinking about when they open up a business, is that if you're looking for money, it's going to take twice as long as you think, and it's going to cost twice as much as you budget for. All right, right off the bat. Okay, if you think it's 5,000, it's going to end up being 10 grand. All right, if you think you're going to get it done in 3 months, it's going to take 6 months.
yep.
Okay, because things that like life happens when you're making other plans, and it's one of those things where like a a budget and a plan is always going to keep getting pushed back because there's always going to be something unexpected that hits your books, and you have to keep budgeting for that. So always give yourself leeway when you're making those plans. So start small. Okay, start really, really, really small. Okay, take out a credit card, take out one credit card you need, and ensure that you put the repayment plan on it, and start small and then scale. All right. Then scale up. If you have one product or service, just push that one product or service. Don't go out there trying to just blast, a full services and things like that, and then it's going to cost you much more money. That's one of the biggest things I think. The second one I think is um, when it comes to your expenses, is separating your personal expenses from your business expenses. And I
Yeah.
see this so much. People will put personal things on business credit, and they'll buy business things with their personal with personal cash. And by the time you need to do taxes and you have to start writing things off, everything is completely in disarray. They have no idea where this money, like, was this personal, was this business over here. And then when they start filling out, or they take it and they push it off onto an accountant, and the accountant is like, I'm like, I have no idea like what is going on here.
Right.
They're gonna be like they have a pile of receipts, or you give them a 20-page long uh sheet of your expenses, and he's just going to be like, I have no idea where any of this goes. So that's the second thing, is failing to separate those things. So you need to register. After you register your business properly, you need to apply for business specific credit products. So if you have things like if you have QuickBooks, if you use if any other anything that's going to help you keep track of those business expenses. Another one is just poor cash flow management. And this goes back to what I was saying before. Everything takes longer and costs twice as much as you're going to expect. But businesses don't fail because they were unprofitable. Because I know a lot of businesses that don't make a profit, but they have tons of revenue. They fail because they run out of cash. That's the biggest thing, is that
Mm,
they run out of cash. They don't they don't watch their cash flow management. And you need to make sure that your accounts payable and your accounts receivable are in check. Like, the money going out and the money coming in is all accounted for. Every single dollar has to be accounted for. You need to be meticulous about tracking that money, because you got to maintain cash reserve in case something happens. Like I said, life is what happens when you're making those plans. And so you need to be having that little bit of cash reserve. So, and say like, oh, this costs 20% more. I'm like, cool, I got it. I got the cash right here. And so you can manage those unforeseen circumstances down the road. So those three things, it's mostly over leveraging credit, get yourself into way more debt, failing to separate your business and personal finances, and then your poor cash flow management. Those are the big ones.
yeah. No, I
Yeah.
like that. And I like how you said too, and people don't get this. It's like when people are first getting into one, if both things. It was just a consumer side, like, hey, they're trying to rebuild their credit like I had to, or in this case, we're talking about business credit, building business credit. You're not gonna get the greatest limits. We all want, like, I want the credit cards like 1,000 or more. It's like you're not. You're gonna get whatever you get, be it on a credit card, personal side, it'd be 300, 500. Business side, it might be, I think, what, five grand, which still,
5K. I mean,
yeah,
that's what I got when I
yeah,
first
yeah.
started my business. They gave me 3K to start, and then after a couple months, I asked them for an upgrade. They were like, "Yeah, we'll go up it up to 5K," and that's just to show you that like you're not going to get, you know, like my LLC was just starting out, and they gave me enough, just enough to get off the ground. And once I showed them I can manage that money, I called them up. I called my bank. And I said, "Hey, listen, my business is doing really good. I have some assets I want to purchase. Can you go ahead and bump me up to 5K?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure." And because they saw the history
Yep.
of my payments, and they
Yep.
saw that I was managing my credit. That's it.
That's what I'm doing. Like, and people don't understand it. Like, it's like I tell people when having to rebuild their credit, like I had to. You're starting out with the small stuff, and you can start rebuilding personal credit for like less than $30 a month. Cheap. Well, I always
Yeah.
tell people start cheap, because at some point, eventually, when you get like a mortgage, it's like if missing a payment on an account, a credit builder, it's like $30 a month versus missing payment when it's like 600. We'll take your credit score. So in the meantime, reap the benefits and make it cheap as hell for as long as you can. That's what I tell people. So it's like you gotta start small, because creditors, vendors, they look to see, well, if you can't handle the small amounts, how in the world do you trust me to help? Trust me? How in the world do you expect me to trust you with a biz loan of 100,000, or a business credit card of like 50, 60, whatever it is, right? You
Yeah.
got to start small and realize you're building it up. And that the other thing too, and I want your opinion on this too as well. The world of YouTube, business credit and credit cards is competitive and insane. I see the thumbnails. Oh, $15,000, no, no credit check output. I'm like, oh my god. It's like you're not going to get that out the gate if when you're brand new.
Yeah.
Two, if you're having to repair some things. What are your thoughts
Yeah.
on that? I won't go on that because
I mean, here's the thing is that there's so much clickbait on YouTube. All they're doing is trying to get you to click on click on their reel and watch it. That's all it is. And they go to their website, and then they want you to you're basically just giving up your personal information so that they can sell you a product. And that's all that is. You're not getting 50 grand out of the
yeah.
gate. All right. You're not getting 50 grand out of the gate. All right. Those are what in marketing, those are what we call hooks. And like the hook is to get you to click on the video so you can watch it, and then they get your information so that they can sell you a product, like some kind of like credit repair, whatever it is. And that's a very, unfortunately, that's just the nature of YouTube and marketing nowadays online, is that they want you to uh sign up for this thing, and then it's the whole sales funnel is that they get you to a point that where you qualify you for to pay like $1,000 for their program,
Right.
when they really don't do anything, but just getting you to a point where they say like, okay, here's, you got to do this, do this, do this, do this, when you could easily just look all that information up online somewhere. Or you could just listen to a podcast like this and to tell you, I'm like, that's a scam. Don't do it. Build your credit the right way and just start small.
First of all. And then if you want further help, you have trusted sources. I tell
Exactly.
you the truth. You know what I mean? That's what I
That's
see
it.
all the time with YouTube, and it's YouTube that's notorious for it. And then, well, Instagram is a little different. Instagram is notorious for it. It's people posting this lifestyle they're not living. Too, in the credit space, I see these things where it's like, use these laws. Why do anything credit? I'm like, there's truth, but if it was really, really that all it took, you'd have very, very little people with terrible credit. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's marketing, you said
Yeah.
too. And you have to look
Like
at
I
it,
said, it's a
right?
hook.
Yeah, you have to look at it and go, well, okay, is that really true? Hear it out,
Yeah.
understand it, and then do some research. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't think that like, oh, sweet, I can get this now, and I don't have to have grace. Like, no. Now, there are places that will give you some credit outstanding. We don't have seller credit, but it's going to be more expensive, and it's control, and they're going to debit from you regularly, and you have to make sure you can maintain that. There are those that will, But again, it's not going
Yeah.
to be like, here's $50,000. Like, nah, it's not how it works.
Yeah.
You want the good stuff, you have to come correct. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The joke that I make with people is you can't be the guy that's overweight, doesn't eat right, that wants the hot chick. Like, you have to come correct. You gotta get in shape, look good. It's like the hot chick's the loan. Your business is in shambles.
Right.
Get the business look good, then you get the loan you want.
And I tell a lot of my clients, especially ones that are looking to get healthier, is that if I'm not the poster boy, if I'm not the poster boy for health, I can't tell you how to be healthy. Like, I can't be the one eating potato chips sitting on the couch telling you to go work out.
Go work out, bro. I'm gonna eat the chips.
Yeah,
I'll be right here when you're done.
I'm going to stay right here. Oh
Man,
yeah.
these Fritos are
Oh,
just new
these are
Fritos, so
delicious.
yeah.
These are delicious. Yeah, do 10 more push-ups. Oh, no.
You can't be.
No,
Do that
you can't
online.
do it. Just like you, I'd have to have. I mean, I have fairly decent credit. I'm rebuilding myself, especially, but I have two LLCs that I'm also building, so I can show you how to build those because I've done it. So I can't be the one to say like, oh, we're going to do this, and I haven't done it myself. Like, I'm a pretty big guy myself, and fairly imposing. So when I meet a new client, I say, "Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and do this," and they're like, "Well, I can't do that yet, and I can't do that." And I'm like, "Yet, you can't do it yet." And so when people say like, "I want to get a $20,000 loan," and I say, "We can't do that yet,"
Yeah.
all right, because there are steps you have to take to get there. So just like in health, just like in finance and business and whatever else you're in, you start on the bottom rung. You work your way up, and that's how anything is done.
Yep. That's really what it is. But people nowadays, and I'm seeing this I'm sure you've seen this in the so I'm talking about health real quick. The plastic surgery, and people are trying to shortcut, and I hate to say this, with like the BBL phenomenon we're all seeing right now, how those look terrible. And there's it's most of women, but like
They're
I've
expensive.
seen shot
Have you
Joe
seen
Rogan
like
talk about this, where you see guys get
yeah,
like the fake abs in there, and like that is the worst thing you do your body. Two,
yeah,
just take the time to put in the effort to work the muscles, and it'll look how it's gonna look. Like,
yeah,
that's it. And
yeah,
the thing is being realized that I've learned from, like, I used to be much skinnier. I used to do, dude. I used to there was a point in my early 30s. I was running like almost pretty much 10 miles a day. So I had like almost no muscle. I was skinny as hell. Then I was like, you know
yeah,
what? I need to get back in the gym. I want to get back in the gym. I want to get more muscle. And it took me like
yeah,
a good year or two to put on some muscle. But the journey is that, like, we just get to plastic surgery, you deny yourself the journey to build a character and see what you need, and
yeah,
something about the journey that we're designed to go through. And
yep,
if you don't do that, you screw yourself in the long run, and I
yeah.
would also argue in the short term. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's
No, it is, and the thing is, like, and people talk about like stuff like that when they see, By the way, shout out to Chris Bumstead. He won Classic Physique for Mr. Olympia,
nice.
6-time Mr. Olympia, and he is
Ooh,
retiring. So congratulations to him.
six times.
6 time,
That's oh
six in a
man.
row.
Ooh.
Yep. Congrats to C-Bum. And his farewell speech was incredible. Just absolutely, absolutely incredible. He said one of the things that kind of got me choked up was that I hope I set the standard. And I was just like, and he kind of got choked up when he was saying that. And I was like, oh, I love that. I'm like, setting, and that's what I love for my clients in whatever we're working on, is that you have to set the standard.
Yeah.
And when you see guys like that and you say like, oh God, that the standard of work ethic and discipline and what it takes to achieve those things, there is no greater feeling of just incredible gratitude for the work that you put in. Like, whether it's the business you see finally taking off after years of hard work, or like you finally are able to, like, deadlift or bench press your body weight,
Oh my
and the
God.
feeling of
Yeah.
just putting that, and the feel, I mean, you rack that bar and you jump up and you're like, fuck yeah, you know.
Hell
And then
yeah,
the thing
dude.
is, like, or you land that massive fucking deal that gets you and your company like $1 million of revenue. Like, but the thing is, like, the work that it took to get up to that point, like, you could have been working on that deal for months,
Oh
just
yeah.
months and months and months, and you finally land that deal, and just like you want to go out and just do a backflip because it's the greatest feeling in the world, and all of that, that you will never get that feeling from a quick fix,
You won't.
like just doing those things. Is like the work you put in is just so worth it.
It
It's
is.
just so worth it.
And the other thing too is, and I'll say this to add to it, and you'll agree with me on this. Everyone's in their current reality, their desired reality, right? Or
Yeah,
point A, point B. The thing people don't realize that whether it be trying to grow your business, prove financially healthy, and this is the goal is prove health, grow your business, be healthy, right? Whatever it is. That person is different than who you are today. And when you
yeah,
cut the journey out, you don't go through the necessary change to be that person who's going to then
yeah,
handle the business better, learn credit, all those things, manage budgeting, and then the change, the work, like you need that. And so this is why you have people that in the credit repair space, a lot of people get the credit fix, and then they don't look at to what got them in the first place. It's like
yeah,
there's that, or people get liposuction, they gain the weight back, or people that make a lot of money and then you don't address your behaviors, the beliefs,
yeah,
all these things are, it's like you have to
yeah,
go through that journey, and it's not always
yeah,
fun. It can be a pain in the butt. It can punch you in the face. You'll like moments where you'll cry. You'll think, "Oh my
yeah,
God, I'm a failure. What am I doing?" But it's
yeah.
necessary because that's all happening for your benefit to become the person that you want to be, so you can have the thing that you want.
It's necessary, and I swear to God, if we could all, like, if we could look at the script that God wrote for us, like there's this, like,
You'll
and
be like,
we're
"Wait,
just
I'm going to do
looking at it,
what?
and
What do
you're
you
reading
mean?"
this, and you're reading it, and you're like, why? And then you flip over there, and forever come, and you're like, oh God, why? And then you flip a coin, and then you look at it, and you're like, oh, that's why.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's why.
Right. Sometimes you're like, really
I know, you're like,
now?
really, you're putting me through this,
What? And then you're
like,
like, you're broke, you can't eat, you're hungry, you're like,
no.
what the fuck am I doing? And you get
What
through,
am I
you're like,
like? What am I doing?
no.
Like, what am I doing? But you know
Right.
what? It is all worth it. I always say this. I said, discipline is the greatest act of service you can give to your future self. It is the greatest act of service to your future self because, like, I get out of that bed at 4:45 in the morning to go to the gym, and my girl is still asleep, and she's like, "Come back to bed." I'm like, "Nope, gotta go.
You know, if I
I'll be
if I
back.
stay
I'll be
if I
back in
stay a
two
second
hours."
longer, they're about to go, hey, you're gonna be like, okay.
Exactly. Like I'm like nope, I gotta go. I gotta go. And that's the discipline you gotta have. And the thing works with finances too. Like you drive by Burger King all the time, and one day, like, and people stop by Dunkin' Donuts or they stop by Starbucks like every day, and they'll spend those $6 on
Oh,
those lattes.
oof.
And then you stop and you say, okay, what would my future self, who is trying to live below my means, who is trying to start a business, who is trying to be more disciplined about my money would do? I'm like, well, how about I only get myself a latte, let's say when I make a deal, when I reward myself. So now instead of stopping every single day at those places, you'll reward yourself for the things that you do. And that's teaching your mind. That's building a habit of discipline, of saying, I'm going to go ahead and do these things. I'm going to do these things as a reward to myself for being disciplined and getting the results that I want. And so that teaches you your future self is now teaching the person you are today how to act. And that's the journey that we go on.
And it doesn't matter what the journey is, finances, business, health, whatever it is, like that's the journey you want. And preach rock, it's just you have to go through that. And then man, I've had moments in my life where I'm like down moments. I've been sad, cried, dealt with thought suicide. And I'm like, it's really worth it.
Yeah.
And then you look back. Now I'm writing a book, a second one, personal book, and I'm like, okay, wait. At the very, very, very minimum, I can see, okay, I went through that, and now I can say, here's what I got through for someone else that could be going through right now. And it's easy to say it now, but when you're in it, ooh, that's when you remind yourself, okay, it's not gonna last forever. I'm going through this. I've been through this before. I keep going. And you have to tell yourself at some point, this is benefiting me. I may not see it now, but it is because I want to look back and go, And that's what you got to remind yourself, because it's real easy to be like, let me just quit. You don't have to.
I know it's so easy. The easiest thing to do is quit. And I always tell people that I said, listen, think about the price you pay for winning. I mean, it's a pretty big price, but God, it's so worth it. It's so worth it. But
Price for
I'm
winning,
telling
but the
you, if
cost,
you
the
think,
cost of quitting. Ooh,
I
price,
know the thing,
cost, different.
I always say this, if you think the price of winning is big, wait until you get the bill for regret. Wait until you get that. Because you're gonna look at that and you're gonna be like, man, God, I wish I did. I wish I went on that journey, man. I wish I went on that journey. I wish I started that business, man. I wish I did those, spent more time with my kids. I wish I just did those things that would have led me to a point where I would have just been a better the greater version of myself than I am today. And the thing is I always say listen, don't waste your time on regret. Okay. You made those mistakes to get you to a point to realize today that today is day one.
Yep.
All right. You can't go back. All right. You always say, like, when was the best time to start a business? Well, it was probably 10 years ago. The second best time to start that business is today. So when's the next best time to get into the gym?
Now,
Today.
today.
Right. I'm like, so let's go. Let's start.
Yep. You're like, no, just start now. The first day's hard, at that's one at a time you're gonna go. But
Yes.
go
Now. Right
this
now.
right now. Just go and just have an end goal and get clear on that, and then break it down. And trust me, once you're motivated by it, you'll be pulled to do it, and then you'll be more effectively to get in the habit that you'll just change, becomes your norm and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So we go
it
on.
is.
But hey, Christian,
There's a
this has been good, man. Thanks for being on. One, how can people get a hold of you? I think you have like an ebook or something as well.
I do. So actually, I'll send a link to my ebook that I'm giving out for free, 10 strategies for achieving peak performance in every aspect of your life. It's a very quick read. I'm actually going to be finishing my book, A Life Empowered, which will be coming out early January. So it's in the editing process right now, and it'll be available on Amazon, hopefully first quarter of 2025. So be
Right.
very happy about that. But I'll have a link to my free ebook. Uh, I also offer my consulting services through Facebook. My Instagram is The Wealth Mindsets on Instagram. You can find me there. You can also find me on thewealthmindsets.com. You can sign up for my free newsletter there, as well as any of my consulting services.
Nice, nice, awesome. Christian, again, man, thanks for being on, bro. This is a really good conversation on credit, business credit, and then to just the overall mindset and things to change that affect everything.
Yeah,
You can't
it does.
separate it. So cool, man.
Mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. Matt, thank you so much, man. I had a great time. I love discussing these topics, and I would love to be on again, man.
Oh, we're gonna come over part two. Trust me. We're gonna schedule that. It's gonna be good.
Good, great. I love it, man.
All right, later.
All right, Matt. Take care, bud.